A woman died last year. At Riverside. In my unit. C block. The official report says natural causes. But I was there that night. And let me tell you something. There was nothing natural about that woman's death. I can't say her name. But I will never forget her face. My name is Jessica Torres. I've been inside this prison system for 3 years. And until today, I stayed quiet because I was afraid of losing my job. Because people I care about are still in there. Because I've seen what happens to people who speak openly about this system. But I can't stay silent anymore. I'm going to ask you something right now. And I want you to think about it honestly. When someone commits a crime, the court gives them their sentence, right? 5 years, 10 years, maybe more. Okay, I get it. That's how the law works. But what about the things hidden inside that sentence? The punishments the court never ordered. Medical neglect that turns treatable conditions into death sentences. Food that isn't fit for an animal. What happens in the unit at 2 in the morning when the cameras don't quite reach that angle? Women who have nowhere to file a complaint, no one to call, no one who will listen. Are those part of the sentence? Did a judge order that? I wasn't asking these questions my first year, because like every new officer who walks through those doors, I learned something fast. You don't question the things they call just how it works, hey. You keep your head down. You keep moving. Until something stops you. What stopped me was a woman's eyes. 3 days before she died, she looked at me, and there was something in that look. She wasn't fighting anymore. She was just waiting. And I did nothing. I just watched. Every night since then, I ask myself the same question. If I had done something different that day, would she still be here? I don't know the answer. But what I do know is this. I can't keep watching the same thing happen to other women. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I saw at Riverside. All of it. The medical neglect, the food situation, what's done to officers, and what officers do to others, and how this system somehow manages to make all of it look normal. Some of what I'm about to say is going to make you uncomfortable. Good. It should. Because people who aren't uncomfortable don't change anything. Are you ready? Because this is only the beginning. Let me ask you something. If you got sick right now, really sick, what would you do? You'd call a doctor. You'd go to urgent care. You'd do something. You have that option. Now imagine you don't. Imagine you're locked in a cell, running a fever of 103, and the person on the other side of the door looks at you and says, "Put in a medical request form." A form. That's what healthcare looks like at Riverside. I want to tell you about a woman I'll call Maria. She came to C Block with a condition she'd been managing for years. Nothing exotic, nothing untreatable. The kind of thing millions of Americans live with every single day on the outside. She had her medication. She had a routine. She was handling it. Then she came to Riverside. Her prescription requests were delayed, then denied, then lost in paperwork, or at least that's what we were told. I watched her file request after request for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And every time, the answer was the same. It's being processed. Do you know what happens to a body when it goes 6 weeks without medication? It depends on. I do. I watched it happen. By week 4, Maria could barely stand up during morning count. I reported it. I filled out my own paperwork. I flagged it to my supervisor. You know what I was told? Torres, the medical team handles medical. Stay in your lane. Stay in my lane. I think about that phrase a lot. Because my lane was walking past Maria's cell every single day, watching her get worse, and being told it wasn't my problem. She didn't die. I want to be clear about that. But by the time she finally got her medication, she had developed complications that she will carry for the rest of her life. Permanent damage from something that was completely preventable. And here's what I need you to understand. Maria's story isn't rare at Riverside. It's not even remarkable. I have seen versions of this story more times than I can count. Women with infections that go untreated for weeks. Women with dental pain so severe they can't eat. Waiting months for an appointment. Women having mental health crises. Screaming for help, being told to calm down through a door. The system isn't broken. That's what people get wrong when they hear these stories. A broken system fails by accident. This one fails by design. Medical care in most state prisons is run by private contractors. Did you know that? The company gets paid a flat rate per inmate. You know what that means. Every dollar they don't spend on treatment is a dollar they keep. Think about that the next time someone tells you the system just needs a few fixes. Now I need you to stay with me here, because this next part is harder to talk about. Let me ask you another question. Who watches the people who are supposed to be watched? At Riverside, there are cameras, lots of them. And there are rules, thick binders full of rules about conduct, about use of force, about how officers are supposed to treat inmates. I read every single page when I started. I believed in those pages. But here's something they don't tell you in training. Cameras have angles, and people learn those angles. I'm not going to sit here and tell you every officer at Riverside is corrupt. That's not true, and it wouldn't be fair. I work with people who genuinely care, who go home exhausted because they actually tried to do right by the women in their unit. But I am going to tell you what I've seen with my own eyes. I've seen an officer deny a woman her hour of yard time, not because of a rule violation, not because of any legitimate reason, but because that woman filed a grievance against him the week before. No explanation given. No paperwork. Just a door that didn't open when it was supposed to. I've seen women threatened. Not with weapons. Not with anything that would show up on a report. With words. With the quiet, devastating power that comes from controlling every single aspect of someone's existence. Keep talking and I'll make sure your next transfer request disappears. You can't write that up. You can't prove it happened. But the woman on the receiving end of it knows exactly what it means. And I've seen the retaliation that comes when someone tries to speak up. There was a woman, I'll call her Diane, who filed a formal complaint against an officer in our unit. She followed every single step of the process. She did everything right. Within 2 weeks, she had been moved to a different cell, lost her work assignment, and been written up 3 times for violations so minor I've never seen them documented before or since. Coincidence? Maybe. That's what they'd tell you. But I was there, and I know what I saw. Here's the question that keeps me up at night, and I want it to keep you up too. If a woman inside a prison is being mistreated, and she has no phone, no lawyer present, no outside contact, and every complaint she files goes directly back to the people she's complaining about, what is she supposed to do? I'll tell you what most of them do. They learn to be quiet. They learn to survive. They put their head down and they count their days and they try not to give anyone a reason to make their life harder than it already is. And the system counts on that. I'm not going to wrap this up with a neat little bow, because there isn't one. What I told you today is real. It's happening right now, not just at Riverside, at facilities across this country. Women who have no voice. A system that runs smoothly precisely because most people never ask questions about what happens behind those walls. But here's the thing. You just asked. By watching this far, you did something most people don't do. You chose to look. And that matters more than you think. I still believe this system can change. I have to believe that. Otherwise, why am I still walking through those doors every morning? Change doesn't come from the top. It never does. It comes from people on the outside who refuse to look away. That's you. So I want to hear from you. After everything I just told you, what do you think? Did this change how you see the system? Did it make you angry? Did it make you question something you never questioned before? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video reached you, if any part of it stayed with you, please hit like and subscribe. It costs you nothing. But it means everything for stories like this to reach more people, because I have more. So many more. 3 years inside Riverside gave me stories that will shock you, break your heart, and maybe, just maybe, change the way you see justice in this country. They are all coming, right here on this channel. Don't go anywhere.